Welcome to Digimon.
Hello and welcome to Digimon and welcome to another deck profile. If you're liking this sort of content, please make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel and ding that notification bell so you're not missing out on any of the latest content. Now, the deck of all decks that I think a lot of people were really excited by before the ban list was, of course, G.A.S, Garurumon Alter S. All of the old Garurumon stuff, creating a big draw engine so you can then go into your big dude, loop him several times and win. Now, you can't do it as easily because Bandai has restricted the use of the MetalGarurumon from EX1, which, as of this video coming out, is now officially to 1 copy per deck. But the deck can still work, and I know Digipanda did a video on it last week using the BT5 MetalGarurumon, and that got me thinking. I was like, well, what other Garurumons could you potentially use? And I settled on one, and actually I think it's pretty cool. Yes, it does mean we've had to sacrifice one thing, but you know what? This combo is pretty cool. I really like it, and if I had the pieces, I would build this deck IRL. I do not, so I have not. But this is the deck, and this is what I have built. So we've got the egg, of course, is going to be the Wanyamon, just giving us a generic draw if we've got a blue tamer in play. All of our tamers are, of course, blue. Could you potentially change this out for like a different egg, like a Sunomon or something like that? Maybe you could, but this one is just better for what you're trying to do, having that consistency. Then we're going to go to the rookies. The first one we're going to go to is the BT15 Gabumon. I used to have 2 copies of this, unfortunately, way back, including an alt art, and I no longer do. Hence why I cannot build this deck, because I just cannot be asked to source those Gabumons again. But start of main phase, essentially, one of your Digimon gains blocker until the end of your opponent's turn. Then if you have a tamer with Ishida in its name, you draw 1, again helping with the draw, and when attacking, draw 1, again helping with that draw power. Then we've got 2 copies of the ST21 Gabumon. Now, in our particular build, the warp does not really come up. It's possible, but not really, because it only warps into MetalGarurumon specifically. Whereas, as you'll notice, this is not MetalGarurumon specifically. You know, but the when attacking draw 1 and then trash 1 is kind of useful. You could potentially swap it out for like different Gabumons potentially. You know, so if we go blue, there we go. So you could potentially go for maybe the BT17 one for that start of main draw 1. You know, the DNA could come up. It's not really necessary for it to come up though, given that this has an end of turn DNA thing. You could maybe go for the Gabumon from BT22, because it just is going to add anything with Omnimon in its text and the CS trait, but a lot of your Digimon do not have Omnimon in their text. You know, so it was a bit tricky to think about, you know, what to do. You could maybe go for BT6 when you play a tamer with Ishida in its name, gain 1 memory. That would include the time map, so you gain that memory when you do so. Inheritable won't come up though, because we're not playing Bond of Friendship. Maybe BT5, just reveal top 3, add the top cards of your deck, add 1 Digimon card with Garurumon in its name, 1 Digimon card with Omnimon in its name. Again, that could be more useful just for that general search. No inheritable, but, you know, is what it is. So, you know, you've got a lot of different options for your Gabumons, but I went with this one just because I wanted kind of a repeat of that drawing, you know, inheritable. There is one issue with it, though, which, you know, we'll get into as well. But then going into our Gabumon X's, we've got 4 of the Gabumon X from BT9, who's really important in this build in particular, because he actually does double search in this one, whereas most kind of G.A.S builds will not. You know, so this guy can search your Garurumons, your Omnimons, and your X Antibody options. Then we've also got the Gabumon X Antibody, the limited EX5 one. Reveals the top 4 cards of your deck, add 2 cards with Garurumon or X Antibody in their names among them to the hand, and place the rest at the bottom of the deck in any order. And if you added cards, you trash a card from your hand. Then it has that inheritable. When this is drawn with Garurumon or Omnimon, its name would be deleted in battle by returning 2 non-Digi-Eggs cards from your trash to the bottom of the deck. Prevent that deletion. So it can be really handy in certain situations. Then going into our level 4s. Now the first one I'm going to go into is the BT5 one. Now the BT5 Gabumon I really like because of the fact it can gain new memory. Issue with it can't Digivolve on top of this Gabumon. So I have been thinking about maybe getting rid of this Gabumon to you know, field this one better. You could also just play different Garurus that just, you know, are gonna Digivolve entirely off of just any Gabumon. So the BT9 one's not going to do it. The EX1's not going to do it. The DM one's not going to do it. No, never mind. There literally are no other Gabumons, the Garurumons that do that. Oh no, say that. There's the purple ones. You got the purple ones. So you could go for the purple ones potentially, because of that kind of evolve. Yeah, I wouldn't. So potentially, I'd be thinking about getting rid of this one, going for like a blue Gabumon instead. But you know, this one is really good for that memory when it does come up. You just have to be careful with when you're doing it, essentially. You know. Then in terms of the inheritable as well, 1000 DP is pretty handy, you know, especially in certain matchups. Like if you're going up against, say, for example, Royal Knights and Omnimon is not big enough, you know, we don't have the jamming in this build. I mean, that is another one you could potentially bring in, actually. You could also be going for, obviously there's the blue DM Gabumon, but if we went for that, then we could also go for, where is it? Where are you, friend? There you are. The EX9 one. It won't search anything, but giving you jamming is pretty good. So, you know, that's always another option. But anyways, into the rest of our champions. We're not actually playing that many just because of the amount of draw power we've got. But we've got the BT15-020, which this one for me is the most important one. If you have a team with Matt Ishida in its name, draw 1 on the when Digivolving effect. If you don't have a team with Matt Ishida in its name, you may play 1 tamer card with Matt Ishida in its name from your hand with the play cost reduced by 3, which includes the time mat from EX9. Also gives you a draw on the inheritable, so you're just getting more and more of your consistent stuff. And then we've got the 1 copy of the Garurumon X from EX5. Draw 2, then trash 2 cards in your hand, and if Garurumon or X Antibody is in this Digimon Digivolution cards, gain 1 memory, and then it has the same inheritable as the Gabumon X. The reason I didn't put the BT9 ones in is that the whole way this combo works is that you're not sticking around to have that protection. You know, the moment you've done your swing with Ultra S, you're discarding the rest of the stack, so you don't need that protection. Whereas Garurumon X obviously is limited for a reason. It's too good to not have, because of the fact it's got that draw 2, you know, on top of that memory gain as well. Yeah, so definitely pretty cool. Then going into our level 5s, we've got 4 copies of the Sagittarius mode, who is kind of one of the keystone parts of your main combo. On play, when Digivolving, one of your opponent's Digimon or Tamers can't suspend until their turn ends, so giving you a nice little bit of defensive play, or kind of stopping them from gaining resources. But the main thing we play for is when any of your Digimon or Tamers with Greymon or Matt Ishida in its name are played, or any of your Digimon Digivolve into a Digimon card with Greymon in its name, this Digimon may Digivolve into a Digimon card with Garurumon in its name in the hand without paying the cost. And that's any level 6 Garurumon. Hence why we went this kind of route. And so that is pretty cool. And then it has a when attacking D-Digivolve one of your opponent's Digimon, so you can get rid of some like pesky aces. So saying that, with our main combo, you don't necessarily need to worry about aces, but you know, it still could be pretty handy. Then we've got 4 copies of the promo WereGarurumon Sagittarius mode. And the reason we got this one is simply for more draw, because it's got a effect where the name of this card, this card Digimon, is also treated as WereGarurumon. So it could Digivolve on top of itself for 0, and the Sagittarius mode could Digivolve on top of it for 1 because it's counted as WereGarurumon. The removal effect is kind of okay. If you have a tamer in play, return 2 of your opponent's level 3 Digimon to their owner's hands. So that could potentially get rid of certain floodgates, for example. So Pillowmon, for example, could potentially stop our combo. You know, any of those kind of rookies that stop Digimon being played by effects, because although Omnimon Ultra S is unaffected by Digimon effects, that floodgate affects the player, not the Digimon, to my knowledge. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. But then we've got that kind of battle protection and inheritable again as well, but again, doesn't really come up at all. Then going into our level 6s, we have got 3 copies of MetalGarurumon X from EX5. This guy, I feel, never has gotten the love that it could have. When it first came out, people were just like, nah, this doesn't help me with my OTK. Back to BT9 I go. And going forward, there's just been not many reasons to really go for it. But now, with this particular build of G.A.S, I think we could go into it pretty comfortably, and it helps us really well. So it has the when Digivolving effect that if MetalGarurumon or X Antibody is in this Digimon's Digivolution cards, until the end of your opponent's turn, all of their Digimon gain when attacking lose 4 memory. So it's like a mega ice wall. And so because of that, though this is now at 1 and we can't gain memory from that as much as we used to before, we're now in a position where if we have this... Sorry for the random cut, my phone went off, you probably heard it. If we have this, although we've passed turn, the fact that we've put that effect on top of all of their Digimon means they literally can't swing in to do anything. So this, in a sense, gains us that memory if they do, and obviously, you know, if they don't, then they don't. You know, on top of that, it's got a when attacking effect by returning one Digimon card from your trash to the bottom of the deck. Delete one of your opponent's Digimon with the same level as that card. So you can kind of get that removability from it as well, which is kind of cool if you are swinging in. And on top of that as well, if you don't have the MetalGarurumon in hand to Digivolve again off your Sagittarius mode, it does have blocker. So you've then got 2 blockers out after your combo with Omnimon Ultra S. So that's actually pretty good. You know, I'm not going to lie. You know, is it, you know, liable to kind of deletion potentially after that combo? Yeah, but the thing is, so would a Garurumon combo. You know, if you don't have your Ultra S in hand, then your Garurumon is also going to be, you know, damageable to that. So yes, it doesn't loop as well as this one does, and you know there are flaws in it, you know, inherently. But you know that's why this wasn't the first pick. EX1 was, and of course we are still playing 1 copy of it as we are allowed. So when Digivolving, gain 1 memory for every 4 cards in your hand, and when attacking, if you have 8 or more cards in your hand and a Tamer in play, return one of your opponent's Digimon with a non-deletion effect to the bottom of its owner's deck. Trash all the Digivolution cards of that Digimon. So very good card. We know why it got limited. Just Bandai saw G.A.S and was just like, no, we ain't messing with that. We understand it's only just come out. We ain't messing with that. Let's get rid of it now. You know, so that kind of shows how powerful this combo really was. You know, but you could absolutely play other MetalGarurumons as well. So obviously, like I mentioned earlier, the one that Digipanda went for is the BT5, which I believe is this guy. So if a Digimon card Garurumon is in this Digimon's Digivolution cards, which invariably it will be, return one of your opponent's Digimon with an on-deletion effect to the bottom of its owner's deck, and trash all the Digivolution cards of that Digimon. So there are quite a few different on-deletion effects in the meta right now. Obviously, the Garurumon X engine is still available, so that's there. Plenty of other things going on as well. Then it also has a when attacking effect, gain 1 memory, which obviously is not going to net you as much as EX1 does, but is still pretty cool. But I went with the MetalGarurumon X just to kind of give it some love, because it just hasn't had any. And I thought that kind of stunning potential as part of the combo was pretty cool. Speaking of stunning, you can also go for the BT15 as well, just kind of suspending stuff on the board and stuff like that. So you could definitely go with that as well. I wouldn't say go with the MetalGarurumon X from BT9, because that's not going to, you know, have that stunning memory loop potential. Unfortunately, you can't go in any of the purple ones, because Ultra S uses specifically a blue level 6 or a red level 6 for its DNA options. Otherwise, I would say possibly the Garurumon Ace would have been a good one, you know, because of the fact it gains memory on its when digivolving effect, which is a shame. It is a shame it doesn't use Garurumon and Greymon for in names for its digivolution, and instead is blue or red. I don't even know why they put blue or red. I guess that was because of, like, to make it more available for the DM stuff, I think, you know. But the level 6s for version 1 and version 2 were Garurumon and Greymon dudes anyway. So, and then its effect doesn't help any other level 6 or level blue decks. So yeah, a little bit flawed. Yeah, on to Omnimon Ultra S, of course. We're looking at him. He is hella strong, and obviously because he came out in EX9, he did survive the ban list. I think potentially he is one of those level 7s that could be banned. Granted, I think a lot of the time the loops themselves are the problem with Omnimon Ultra S. Like, you look at Omnimon, you look at G.A.S before the ban list. You know, the engines were the thing that, you know, allowing you to turbo up into him, that could have been the problem. But the fact that he inherently can just swing in, play out 2 more dudes, and then potentially DNA again, especially if you've got stuff like Island of Adventure and all that sort of stuff, yeah, that is dumb. You know, he also deletes everything with the highest level. He becomes immune for the turn. He's just one of the best level 7s ever printed, and is basically a custom card. Let's be honest. You know, he's really good, and still very good in the G.A.S build. Then going into the Tamers, we've got 4 copies of the EX9 Tai and Matt, of course. They return stuff from trash, Greymon, Garurumon, all that sort of stuff. So if the BlitzGreymon ends up in the trash, which, speaking of, I didn't speak about BlitzGreymon. I skipped over him. But back to the level 6s. BlitzGreymon, Alliance and Blocker, on play when digivolving, de-digivolve 3. But the really important part of him is end of your turn, 2 of your Digimon may DNA digivolve into Omnimon Ultra S, specifically, in the hand, then one of your Digimon may attack. So you DNA off, and then you just attack as part of that effect. And then along with that, security tap +1 is the inheritable. So really good. Sorry, I forgot about your Blitz. Anyways, back to Ty and Matt. Obviously, being able to return stuff from the trash is really good. Being able to draw stuff if you don't return stuff from the trash is really, really good. And the all turns effect of when any of your Digimon are played or Digivolved by suspending this tamer, gain 1 memory if you have a Digimon with Greymon in its name, then gain 1 memory if you have a Digimon with Garurumon in its name. So the fact you're gaining that memory as you go as well, really good. We've got 2 copies of the BT15 mat as well. So reveal top 3 cards of your deck, add 1 Digimon with Gabumon or Garurumon in its name among them to the hand, and return them to the rest of the bottom. Return the rest of the bottom of the deck. Then your turn, when one of your Digimon effects add cards to your hand by suspending this tamer, gain 1 memory. And we are drawing a shit ton in this build. You know, yes, we can whiff on Alter S and the BlitzGreymons, but we are searching literally everything else with this card, including the rookies, which you don't see that a lot of the time. Then in terms of our options, we've got 2 blue Scrambles. Arguably, you could have more of them, but I went for 2, and I'm finding that's fine for me. One of your blue Digimon may Digivolve into a blue Digimon card in the hand, with the Digivolution cost reduced by 3. Technically only reduced by 1, because of course you're using it for a cost of 2. Then place this card in the battle area. Then, start of your turn, if your opponent has a Digimon delay, return 1 blue Digimon card from your trash to the top of the deck. Then, if you don't have a Digimon, you may play 1 blue Digimon card with 2000 DP or less from your trash without paying the cost. And the security effect does the same thing, then adds the card to the hand. So, Scramble's really good for that combo to go up into your Sagittarius mode, because Sagittarius mode, of course, costs 3. So, if you've been left on 2 memory and you've got a level 4 in the back, you just push up, slap down a Scramble, boom, I've got my Sagittarius mode there, slap down Blitz, go up into a Garurumon, go up into Omnimon Alter S, boom. And then the last card we've got is X Antibody, and this of course is to make the MetalGarurumon X live. And of course we can search this with both of our Gabumon X's, but more than likely we draw into it all the time. Like the drawing ability is so strong in this deck, like I'm honestly not worried about not seeing this, but it's literally just here to get the MetalGarurumon X live and to put that kind of lose 4 memory floodgate on them. But if it's hitting security, you gain a memory off of it. Place this card under one of your Digimon with X Antibody Digivolution cards as its bottom Digivolution card, so slapping it under MetalGarurumon X. And then it does the when attacking stuff. So you could potentially do the inheritable effect of it, of when attacking, this Digimon can Digivolve into a Digimon card with X Antibody and its traits in your hand for its Digivolution cost. So you could swing in with your Sagittarius mode to, you know, hit in with MetalGarurumon X, but 9 times out of 10 you're not going to worry about that. You're just going to, you know, go up into Sagittarius mode, then slap down Blitz and Digivolve up into MetalGarurumon X, but it could come up. One of the sacrifices of this build, though, is of course we're not playing Island of Adventure, which is kind of like a staple card for a lot of Omnimon Alter S type builds, because of the fact this adds the top security, so you just add back your Alter S, because, you know, that's what this is going to do, and just keep looping that, you know, the more you've got it. So you could add this back in, and I think if you were playing like the BT5 MetalGarurumon or something like that, then I think you would definitely play this. But I found I've not missed it as much, because of the fact this is more of like a stun TK, if that makes sense. You know, we've got this stun, and then we can just OTK them later, control the board. Like, it's still got a lot of the aggro, but it's also got a lot of board control as well. But let's take a look at how that works. Got some gameplay lined up for you guys, and I hope you really enjoy it. Let's head over to that now. Okay, so here we go with the gameplay. We keep that starting hand because we've got most of the things we need to kind of get ourselves off to the races. Hatch our Wanyamon and go straight into that Gabumon. We're then going to slap down that Gabumon X, search for some more of our pieces, grabbing the Garurumon BT5, which unfortunately is something we already had in hand, and bottom decking the BlitzGreymon and the Gabumon. And we are going up against 3 Great Angels, which is still a very competent deck. You know, you could make an argument for it being one of the best yellow decks in the format still, you know, especially given Sukuyamon's kind of no longer got Valderarm now, and a couple of its other pieces gone, but you know, 3 Great Angels still can bang, and has been able to bang quite for a while. They then go into the Angemon, and we are just gonna keep in the back. We're going to swing with that Gabumon X, just do a cheeky check, and slap down the Matt and Ty to get ourselves a draw. We grab Blitz, which is awesome, and we leave them on 1. They're going to push forward to try and Digivolve with their Patamon, and unfortunately they don't have anything in there, which is a real shame. Then going to have a think about what they're doing, and I believe from what I remember of this game, which I played earlier today, yeah, there you go, they swing with this Angemon, and to kind of get it into security so that next turn they can Digivolve up. Or at least that's what I thought, because they then just went into this Angemon anyway. But kind of silly thing to do, but I suppose the Patamon could have just died, so there's no guarantee. So get level 4 in there for later. But then we go up into the Gabumon. We're going to then go for the Gabumon X, do another search. We grab our Omnimon Alter S, because we've already got everything else in hand. We've now got the combo pretty much live to go, but of course we're short on memory. So we're going to go into our BT5 Garurumon, so we can retain the turn by gaining a memory and then gaining a memory off of our tire mat. And then we are going to make sure that we can keep them on one, so just keep choking them, go for the Scramble, and we're going to go into the Sagittarius mode and just pray to all heaven that this Sagittarius mode lives. We do stop them from being able to suspend, so they can't swing in with this Angemon and get that into security as well, you know, for their stuff. Then go into Pillowmon, which honestly I kind of wonder if they should have just slapped that down, really, you know, and had that for Floodgate reasons, because any of the Floodgates, as I mentioned earlier in the profile, that stop Digimon from being played by effects can screw over Alter S, because they do affect the player and not the Digimon. Again, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I'm fairly sure that's correct. They're then just having a little think on what to do. They go into the Magna Angemon eventually and Digivolve up into the Cherubimon, I believe it's going to be, from their security. Yeah, there it is, Cherubimon, which unfortunately is not going to DP minus us enough. Even if they had 2 Digimon out, the BT5 is just giving us that 1k boost, so we're okay. We then could Scramble, but there's not really much point to doing so, so we don't. Add the X Antibody to our hand through the draw, and then there we go. So we're ready to go. We've of course got to remember, as part of the combo, to put X Antibody underneath our Sagittarius mode first, so that the MetalGarurumon X is live. Then out comes BlitzGreymon, who is going to de-Digivolve 3, one of their Digimon. A slight kind of misplay on my part, I guess, here, as I should have de-Digivolved the Angemon so that the on deletion wasn't live. But I ultimately went for what I did. Then go into the Garurumon X. So now if they attack next turn, they lose 4 memory, which is awesome. And we've actually managed to retain turn here, because of the fact we de-Digivolved that Cherubimon. So now we're just kind of thinking what we do. Do we risk swinging him in the MetalGarurumon X? I don't think so. You know, both back when I played this and now, because of the fact that we were a little bit small and we didn't have the jamming or anything like that. So instead we do DNA up into the Omnimon Alter S, but unfortunately that's going to give them a extra thing in their security. We're going to draw, get another Omnimon Alter S, draw, get a Gabumon, de-Digivolve nothing, and then slam into security for 2 checks. Then we don't have another MetalGarurumon in hand, so we're not going to put the Sagittarius mode out. We're just going to go back out into the MetalGarurumon X, de-Digivolve nothing again, then go Gabumon in the back, DNA again into Omnimon Alter S to do another 2 checks after deleting that Patamon, of course. 1, 2. Pop them back out again. Then go to a 3rd Alter S, I believe, is what we do. Yep, there we go. And now we've got the EX1, of course. Go to the 3rd one, and they decide to scoop, because that was too... Although they weren't dead that turn, they were going to have no security, not going to be able to really do anything. But that is that. I really hope you guys enjoyed the gameplay there, as well as this deck profile. G.A.S absolutely can still put in the work, and I think it's still going to be a really good deck going forward. And you could even see it, you know, going through the regionals over the next couple of months. Genuinely, I think G.A.S is still going to be one of the better decks, even without the EX1. That could just be, you know, blowing my own horn. But I think it's not lost as much punch as people think for the EX1. Yeah, you can't loop as much, but you do stuff like that, and you can essentially stop your opponent. Like, even if they had a memory tamer, you know, and they were to, you know, try and swing with anything for that MetalGarurumon X, then they would lose 4 memory. The only way to get around it is to exceed, you know, that 4 memory point, which, to be fair, is not impossible, but I think it's a cool thing to do. But anyways, I hope you guys like this video. Like, subscribe, ding that notification bell, and we'll see you again on the next video. But until then, keep it digital.